Locktar here, coming at you with another review because that's what we do on this channel. We try new things as people send them to us and we share tasting notes. It's very simple. Tonight, I've got a very special sample that I wanted to give a try. Number one and number two, so I'm only going to do one of these tonight because I'm not crazy. And Life on the Patio, or Life from the Patio, sent me some samples. Now, these are the coolest sample bottles that I have seen so far because they actually have like a peelable tab on them. And I don't know if it's a straight cork under here or what, but pretty cool. So what they sent me was number one, Weller Foolproof. It's a store pick, and I can't read that through the camera, from Collierville, Tennessee. And then they also sent me a second sample that is Colonel E.H. Taylor Small Batch. So two things that I have not tried, but that I have absolutely wanted to try. Very excited for both of these pours. But tonight is going to be the Weller Foolproof Store Pick. I am very much looking forward to this pour. I have wanted to try it for a very long time. Ever since I tried the Antique 107, the Weller Special Reserve, all of these different expressions for Weller that I've had so far have been absolutely delicious. Now, Special Reserve, of course, is low proof. So, no cork. It's got a twist top underneath that seal. Oh, that's kind of cool. And it does smell quite good. So I think these are just regular sample bottles, and they put a seal over the top, and it's got this little foil piece underneath of it. But that's kind of cool. I don't know. I haven't seen sample bottles with that on it. And then, of course, because this community is all about reciprocation and doing things for others, so I'm going to try and do these two in the next couple of days because I'm going to send them back, which, Life from the Patio, I think I already told them in a DM. I am going to send them back the both of these sample bottles, but refilled. One with Rebecca Creek Double Spanish Oak and one with the Samuel Maverick, because neither of those are able to be had where they are in Arkansas. And so that is something I'm excited to share with the community. Now, this, I'm just going to do the whole sample, which comes out to a little bit less than or right at the 2 ounces. Thank you, Life on the Patio, for that. That is absolutely amazing of you all. And by the way, Life from the Patio, not Life on the Patio. I'm sorry if I was getting your name wrong this whole time. They sent me a big old sticker too, so this is going to go onto one of my toolboxes because I have a bunch of motorcycle stickers and car parts, and I mean, you name it. I've got jet racing fuel stickers and all kinds of stuff on my big red Craftsman toolbox that's out in my storage right now. But so for this Weller Foolproof, I did not look up tasting notes. I have really enjoyed doing these as blinds and just discovering what's in them as I go. It's something that for me, the discovery portion of it is just as much fun as tasting it. And that's the nerd in me coming out. I'm sorry if you don't like nerdy things. You're on the wrong channel. Can't help it. You know, I'm a big Star Wars guy. Just ask my wife, who's sitting behind the camera. I am as nerdy as they come. I watch documentaries for fun, folks. When she's not home, when the kids aren't home, I'm watching how it's made because that stuff fascinates me. I watch documentaries on nature stuff just for fun. I tell the kids it's part of their science because we homeschool, but it's not. It's just because I enjoy watching documentaries. I watch stuff on war history. I watch stuff on medieval history. I mean, you name it, I watch it. And I'm really big into conspiracy theories too. I love all of that stuff. Ancient aliens, the guy with the crazy hair. I love shows like that. There's nothing like them to keep me and my brain entertained with hours and hours of content. I used to love History Channel, but there's no history on History Channel anymore. They've started doing reality TV shows and things like that, and it's kind of strange for me. I don't watch a ton of actual TV. We do have a Roku, so we watch live TV on there, but I absolutely hate ads. So a lot of what we watch are things on streaming services, stuff like that. I am a big Office and Parks and Rec nerd because for years, my wife and I, that's been our background noise shows. We have seen The Office more times than I care to recount for you, but my wife gets really annoyed and she's laughing. She gets really annoyed because I can tell her the lines that are coming up in The Office just based on where the show is. I can say what the next line is going to be as it comes up, and 99% of the time I get it dead on. Most of the time, or well, some of the time, I should say, I end up with a wrong word or two, but that's normal, right? I love those shows. Parks and Rec, Ron Swanson, that whole libertarian ideal, that's me to a T. I love Ron Swanson. And of course, Tom Haverford, that whole character cracks me up. Um, but that's just me talking about how nerdy I am. So with this Weller Foolproof, I am very excited to try it. We have a continuous line of oil. It's not beading like the Bernheim was, or the Bookers that I had tried. The legs are fairly well separated on it. Lots of oil content. And now, let's see what it smells like. Wow. So this one, you can tell it's got some proof on it. I didn't look up what the proof is, and I'm sorry for that. Cindy, can you look up what the proof is, please? It's Weller Foolproof. I didn't look it up, but I'll have it for you in just a second because my lovely wife. It's what? 114. 114 proof. Wow. I would have pegged it higher than that, but again, I'm new to this, so I get away with doing stuff like that. Ha ha. But it smells amazing. It's got that really sweet, how do I describe this? It's a really sweet, like hay or wheat scent to it. And I know Wellers are wheated bourbons. I get that, but I don't think I've gotten this on the nose yet. I know I got hay out of the Bookers that I tried, that Mighty Fine batch. I got hay scents out of that, like you had walked into a barn that was full of hay. That could also be construed as the shelled peanut, not shelled, I'm sorry, in the shell peanuts. Like when you used to walk into Texas Roadhouse and they had those big bins of peanuts, that smell was kind of what hit the nostrils on that one. But this is different. It's grainy, but it's really sweet. Excuse me. I had a big dinner. Sorry for the burps. It smells amazing though. It's very mellow. Once you get past the alcohol, once you get past that initial sting of the nostrils, because you can tell it is higher proof, it's right in that sweet spot of where the proof should be and the way that it should burn when you hit a whiskey with your nose. And then I get the traditional bourbon smells. I get that caramel. I get a little bit of vanilla on it. There's a slight spice to it, and it could be the proof. I want to call it nutmeg again, maybe cinnamon, but it's extremely light. Like it's not an overpowering scent at all. It's very subtle. It's not like if you've ever smelled cinnamon Altoids. It doesn't smell like that. It's not as strong. It's a very level, mellowed cinnamon, almost like the cinnamon you would get out of an apple pie. Matter of fact, I smell apples in this too. It's got this kind of fruity play on the tongue, just on the nose. I like the way this smells. I'm very excited to try this. I think I have spun it enough. So again, Life from the Patio, thank you so much for sending me this. I know Weller Foolproof is hard to find. This is an expensive bottle. This means a lot to me. Thank you for allowing me to try this. I'm going to be sending you all back those samples. My bottles are not as expensive as the ones that you sent to me, so if you need more, just let me know. I have stuff back here that I'm sure you have access to, but I don't mind sending you extra because of what you all sent me. I do appreciate it. So cheers to you all, and here's to trying new things. Mm. You can tell it's 114 proof, but only after you swallow. So initial sitting on your tongue, the flavor that comes through. I'm sorry, this one is evolving. Wow. I started talking way too early because this one is changing. Initially, when it's sitting on your tongue, you don't really feel the burn. It starts to kind of numb your tongue initially as it starts to sit, and you swish it around and let it hit all the flavor receptors and really coat your palate. This is extremely, extremely oily. When you swallow, though, so you get that Kentucky hug, that nice warming sensation as it starts to hit your throat, but you also get, it's like once you swallow, the burn hits the rest of your mouth also where the whiskey had been sitting, where this bourbon had been sitting. That's a unique sensation to me. That's not something I've experienced with another bourbon yet. Usually, when I swallow, what lingers is just flavor. It's whatever that lasting finish flavor is. Sometimes it's the mid flavor that sits on your tongue, and then it just kind of it mellows out as you swallow, and that numbing sensation and all of that flavor just kind of sits there. With this one, I swallowed and I got that Kentucky hug as expected, but then it just kind of started burning as the distillate, as what's in here went down my throat. This is surprising to say the least. And talking about the proof and the way that it burns, I've now forgotten my tasting notes. So give me a second. I'm going to try this again. Wow. This is really, really good. So, initial flavor, I get caramel and sweet corn, I think is what I want to call it. I'm not really sure what flavor to call that. It's caramel, kind of like a sweet corn, and then mid palate, it changes, and I get that cinnamon coming through, and that goes all the way through to the finish. The cinnamon, kind of like a baking spice note. And then it finishes with, is that apple? It's kind of fruity on the finish. And now, having tasted it 3 times, you can tell I'm enjoying it because instead of talking about it for a really long time, I keep going back and trying new mouthfuls to try and get those flavors to really pull through and come through. It's it's delicious. I can tell you that. It's impressive to say the least. It's more complex than the Weller Special Reserve. Weller Special Reserve is kind of mellow, easy sipper. This one you're going to want to sip a little slower because of the burn. It does numb your tongue very quickly, but every swallow, every single one of them for the three that I've had so far have had that burn that I was talking about, where it kind of burns as it goes down, that internal warming sensation, but then it also kind of it's lighting my mouth on fire. It feels like chewing cinnamon gum. And it's definitely like a creamy mouthfeel. That oil lingers for a long time. So caramel. hmm, Caramel, a light vanilla. Mm, wow. You taste a little bit of that sweet oak. It's not overpowering. It's not like licking a piece of wood. It's really subtle with that oak. It is very sweet for something that's 114 proof. You get that grain sweetness. So, what I'm calling sweet corn, it could be the wheat that I'm getting from that. And then that cinnamon on the finish with that burn. And I don't like cinnamon gum. It makes me sweat. I'm the typical white guy when it comes to that. I love spicy stuff, don't get me wrong, but cinnamon gum is just overpowering and overwhelming for my senses. Just like with fireball candies and things like that, I can't do those. It affects me in a different way than what it's supposed to. This, on the other hand, that cinnamon is really, really pleasant. This reminds me of the Antique 107, but of course it's higher proof. There's a lot more kick to this one than what's in the Antique 107. However, I don't know which of the two I would prefer. That Antique 107, that was absolutely delicious, but so is this one. And I like the burn. I like that extra kick that this one has to it. I'm trying to figure out what else is here. There's something that I'm missing. It's like every time that I go back to it, I start to pull different flavors out of it. It's just the way that it's hitting my tongue. That cinnamon, it builds over time though. So each time that I've taken a sip, I get more of that cinnamon burn on the finish, and that may be affecting the way that I am tasting this particular one. Still smells the same to me. I get a little bit of that sweet wheat, that grainy kind of, I don't know if I'd describe it as dusty, but I've heard people describe bourbons as like dusty scented before. Um, the ones that are more grain forward. And that's what this is kind of giving me vibes of. Yeah. Yep. So caramel, that grainy sweetness, that corn sweetness, maybe wheat sweetness up front. Mid palate, you get that sweet oak with that light undertone. The cinnamon starts to come through, and a little bit of apple. I mean, it's light on the apple, but it is there. Um, Red fruit doesn't quite describe it. I would call that like a crisp red apple. That's what that tastes like to me. And I gotta say, I love it. This is delicious. It's got a lot of really good flavor. It evolves on the tongue as you swallow it. The burn isn't overwhelming, but you know that it's there. You can tell you're drinking a higher proof bourbon. I enjoy that. The color on this thing, and I don't know if I did that already. I don't think I did, but that's that deep amber color, that deep caramel color. It's not as dark as some of the bourbons that I really enjoy. However, I'm enjoying the way that this one tastes. I'm enjoying the way that this one smells. I have zero complaints about this bourbon. Easy to drink at 114 proof. You're going to want to sip it slowly as you go, of course, because I mean you can tell that it's at its proof. It doesn't drink below. It hits at what you would expect 114 proof to hit. But it is absolutely delicious. So thank you again, Life from the Patio. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much for sharing this pour with me. I cannot thank you enough. I will be filling these sample bottles back up and sending them to you after rinsing them, of course, because I don't want to taint the flavors of what I am sending to you guys. But I look forward to seeing your review video of the pours that I'm going to send you. I will tell you my tasting notes. Now, I'm sure you've watched the Rebecca Creek video, but I'll tell you the Samuel Maverick tasting notes after you all have tried it, just because I don't want to influence what it is that you pull from it. I want to see what you all think of that particular one. It is a double oaked and it is absolutely delicious, so I hope that you all enjoy it as much as I have. That is one of 107 bottles that are in existence. They did one barrel double oaked. That's it for the Rodeo 24 edition. That's all they made. And so it is not something that you all will be able to get unless you visit San Antonio and go down to the distillery and they just happen to have a few more left. I don't know how many are left in general, but that's okay. So I'm sending you all those. Thank you again for these two samples. The Weller Full Proof, absolutely delicious. Thank you for that. I will be trying the other pour probably tomorrow night, the E.H. Taylor Small Batch. Because I've been looking forward to trying this one anyways, but I need to empty that sample bottle to send that back to you guys. So thank you so much for watching. Y'all hit that like button, hit subscribe, send me a comment, or leave me a comment, I should say. Let me know how I did. I'm going to look up the professional tasting notes on this particular bourbon whenever I get done with this video. I might even put in a graphic. We'll see how I did against the professionals and what they pulled out of it. My luck will come to an end on one of these videos, I am sure. I am getting to a point now where I'm starting to notice the same things in particular bourbons, especially inside of the same lineup and family. So that's kind of cool. I'm getting similar notes out of similarly done whiskeys and bourbons. I like that. But one of these days, I'm going to be completely off base with one of my tasting notes. I am for sure of that. However, give me a pass. I'm the new guy, right? That's all about learning. It's all about exploring this together and telling you what I'm pulling out of it. These are the flavors that I got out of this. It doesn't mean that I'm wrong necessarily. It just means that my palate is different from somebody else if they got different things out of the bourbon. Now keep in mind, this is also a store pick that came out of Tennessee, which means they went in and selected this particular barrel for it. I have no idea how the regular Full Proof compares to the store pick of the Full Proof, but with this one, it's delicious. If you can get a hold of a bottle of this one, I absolutely recommend it. So once again, hit like, hit subscribe, leave me a comment, let me know how you think I did, and if you've got a similar bottle of the Weller Full Proof, let me know the tasting notes that you all get out of it, because I love reading through those. I respond to every comment. Thank you so much for subscribing and for watching this video. Y'all have a great rest of your night.